So as if this ESG stuff wasn't enough, have you guys heard about DEI or CEI? Maybe you've heard about it, you don't know a lot about it. Too many acronyms, I'm with you, but let's take a look at this as well. So, DEI and CEI take over corporate America. According to justcapital.com, as of 2023, 94% of employers and 74% of workers say that their organization has made a commitment to advancing DEI in their workplace. Compared to 2021, only 32% of companies required some form of DEI training for their employees. You're talking about 94% of employers, and just 2 years ago was 32% of companies require some sort of DEI training. This thing's becoming a phenomenon right now. It's cool to say we have a DEI and a CI training. I think we even fell for it like 6 years ago or 5 years ago at first, thinking this was a good cause. Okay, so DEI and CI take over in corporate America. There's a few things we need to know about. First, before I give you the stats here, which is absolutely wild. Okay, so DEI stands for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, refers to organizational frameworks which seek to promote the fair treatment and full participation of all people, particularly groups who have historically been underrepresented or subject to discrimination on the basis of identity or disability. So, sounds like a noble cause, right? Now let's look at CEI. CEI stands for Corporate Equality Index, which is the national benchmarking tool on corporate policies, practices, and benefits pertinent to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer employees. Which is kind of wild now, because now with the CEI score, if let's just say I'm a 22-year-old kid, just got out of college, I'm working for an S&P 500 company, 379 are participating in the CEI score, 138 is their first year ever. What do you think they're doing to employees like you and I for working there? What do I have to bite for? What language do I have to use? What can't I use? Now, here's what's a little wild. When you think about social media sites for business, there's only one of them you think about. You think about LinkedIn, right? Even LinkedIn wrote an article about how this DEI could be a bad thing for business. Here's what it had to say. 7 ways your DEI initiatives are harming your company and how to resolve it. Number 1, DEI is discriminatory. Can you imagine? It is discriminatory. It's LinkedIn saying this. Number 2, DEI unnecessarily preferences physical attributes over the non-physical. Number 3, DEI diminishes the size of the talent pool. Number 4, DEI decreases performance. Number 5, DEI is divisive. Number 6, DEI diminishes accomplishments and disincentivizes performance. Number 7, DEI is distracting. Says LinkedIn. LinkedIn article, 4 ways to resolve it. Number 1, close the DEI office altogether. Number 2, eliminate diversity quotas. Number 3, hire, promote on merit. Number 4, cease all diversity training programs and reinvest that time and money to upskill employees. Little crazy, little wild, little dark, little no common sense. It just doesn't make any sense what these guys are doing here. By the way, do you know what the top 5 best ESG score companies are? Number 5, drum roll, Bank of America. I am surprised. Number 4, Salesforce. Number 3, Microsoft. Bill and Melinda Gates. Anyone surprised? I'm not surprised. Number 2, Intel. And number 1 highest ESG score is a company many say that supports the government, is a company called Alphabet, hence Google has the highest ESG score. Do you want to take a wild guess which companies have the lowest ESG score? These are anti-establishment companies. You think Tesla has a high ESG score? Can you imagine? Tesla does more to actually help with emissions, but they have a medium score. They're not impressive. They're right in the middle out of all the automobile companies. Out of 81 automobile companies, they're ranked 41. And they're doing more than all these other guys. Twitter, not the best score. Fox Nation, Fox News, not the best score. Xerox, not the best score. AT&T, not the best score. These are at the bottom. I wonder why. Because they're not caving into these ridiculous policies that these guys are coming up with that cost Target $9 billion, that cost Bud, Anheuser-Busch, $15.7 billion. I tweeted this the other day, and I'll explain 3 points I talked about why this doesn't work. Lesson for Fortune 500 company CEOs and CMOs. Number 1, screw your ESG score. Instead, focus on keeping your best customers happy. Number 2, you can't please both the ESG community and your best customers at the same time. Attempting to do so will cost you both. Number 3, it's time for the board to fire the CEO and the entire marketing team. You know what the problem with that is? the board will gladly fire them because they're ESG people, because they own 24.9% of the board seats in the first place. Make sense? This is kind of weird to say fire them and don't fire them. They're probably not going to fire these guys because they're doing exactly what they want them to do, but in an ideal situation of capitalism, not controlled by some UN PRI score, those guys would get fired. Number 4, bad ideas have consequences. And number 5, capitalism works, pandering doesn't. Either go into politics and sell your ideas, or run a company knowing your number one customer is us, then people that work for you, then these nonsense people out of UN and ESG and BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street that control you. You work for them, and the world is starting to realize it. Don't you want to be free? If you do, maybe talk about it so the rest of the world can realize what it's like to be so afraid, shivering of your ESG, DEI, and your CI score. Anyways.